So in the summer, I tend to have lots of lettuce, like way more than I know what to do with, especially in the early spring. I just like plant lettuce, plant lettuce, plant lettuce, and I end up with way too much always, no matter what I try to do. But today we're going to try to use some of that lettuce. We're going to make a salad with a creamy Parmesan dressing. And the best part is it's all going to be from the garden. It's a pretty simple dish, it's delicious, and it's completely customizable. You can make it work however you want. You can make some ingredients homemade, some ingredients not, a mix and match. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go and start harvesting some lettuce. And I usually try to pick like the outer leaves. I try not to take more than a third. And I just pick off the outer leaves and take them, and that's kind of what I do. Cut and come again style, so I can harvest this lettuce over and over and over again. And so this lettuce was planted about a month ago, and it's going to be really fresh for today. So the first thing I'm going to do to make the salad itself is I'm going to make some fresh croutons, and these were made with a French baguette from Aldi's, and you can kind of use any bread you want. It is better if it's a little bit older for a crouton, but I just brought it today. But you can use sourdough bread or any sort of bread you want. It's pretty flexible. But to make these croutons, I just added some olive oil and some different seasoning, and you can kind of use whatever you want. But what I used was, I used sage, rosemary, grated Parmesan. I really love that on these croutons, and onion tops onion seasoning that I dehydrated from my garden last year from Onion Tops. And you might have to do this a few times, add some olive oil and more seasonings just until you get as much coating as you want on those, so they'll crisp up really nice. But once those are finished, I'm going to put them in the oven at 375 for about 20 minutes. And you might want to flip them partway through, but you just want them kind of nice and dried out. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make the dressing. And I just eyeball this. I make it all the time, and I use it pretty frequently, so I'd have to just estimate. But the main thing that I'm going to use is mayonnaise. And to that I'm going to add Dijon mustard. I use a honey Dijon typically. Garlic salt. I'm completely out of garlic cloves that aren't frozen, so I'm just going to use that today. Pepper, Worcestershire sauce, about the same amount as the Dijon. And then I'm also going to use grated Parmesan, just like the shaker can. But I'm going to use that at about the same amount of mayonnaise that I use. And then I'm just going to mix it up. And also, I almost forgot, I'm going to add some lemon. I added about a half a lemon's worth of lemon juice, and these were pretty large lemons. And then today I'm going to add some corn to the salad. I don't always, but I have some on hand and I want to use it, so I boiled some up for about 10 minutes just to make sure it's completely cooked. And then that was pretty much it. And then I'm also going to add some avocado because I also use this, and because I also really enjoy this in the salad. And then this one did have a little bit of a bad part, but I have kept this in the fridge for about a week, so that really wasn't too bad. If you didn't know, somebody recently told me that whenever an avocado is ripe, if you sit it in the fridge, it'll last a bit longer. So that's what I did with this one, and it's actually worked out pretty well. And then the next thing I did for the salad was I chopped up some red onion, and I think this adds a nice contrast to the salad, and it adds some color and some nice crunch. But the next thing I did was I washed my lettuce that I picked from the garden earlier, and I typically use a salad spinner. I've had some bad luck in the past of getting the lettuce clean, sludge and the dirt from the garden, so you want to be kind of careful, but the salad spinner does a pretty good job. And typically how I store my lettuce is I add it to, usually I use a glass container, but I put like a little bit of paper towel on the bottom that soaks up the wetness, but it seems like it lasts pretty long with that damp paper towel in the fridge once I'm finished with it. But the next thing I'm going to do for my salad is I'm going to cook my protein. And I chose chicken today, but you can use any sort of protein you want. I use shrimp a lot and that works really well, but I just used chicken breast today. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cube up the chicken breasts and I'm going to season them with some seasonings I used with my croutons. I think today I used garlic salt, oregano, pepper, and kind of just whatever I feel like every day. Or anytime I make this I use, but usually I use some version of garlic, salt, and pepper, and other things. And now it looks like the croutons are done, so I'm going to go ahead and take them out of the oven. And the corn is done as well, so I'm just going to take it and remove it. And then I'm going to put it on a paper towel lined plate, and then I'm going to just cut some off the top. To cook my chicken, I'm just going to heat up some oil. I chose avocado today till it's hot over medium heat, and I'm just going to cook it till it's finished. While that's cooking, I'm going to go ahead and get started putting everything together. So I just ripped out some of my lettuce that I washed really quickly and I put it on my plate. And then I added some corn, some of the croutons, red onion, Parmesan cheese, the dressing, and the chicken. And that's my finished salad. And this came together really quickly, and it's a meal that I'm going to be enjoying all summer long. So like and subscribe if you want to follow on.